Well, welcome to our video on creating an Etsy shop. My name is Alicia Gainey, and I'm here with Peggy Waters,
Hello.
both from Unisub, and we're here because we heard that people wanted to know how to create an Etsy shop. So we recently did a webinar on building an e-commerce website, and we heard that an Etsy shop, that'd be great to have some ideas around, so we put something together, did a little bit of research, and Peggy's done so much research, so she's going to be teaching me basically how to build an Etsy shop. So we'll just kind of walk through the presentation here.
All right.
So this presentation, what we're going to cover is basically behind the scenes, what is Etsy, why sell with Etsy, get into some of the technical details, show you how to view your shop dashboard, and then just cover a few extra things to remember, and then we'll be done. So we'll move right through everything.
Well, and the good news is, Etsy is just such a large online presence. It's global, and it's basically like a creative commerce platform, just like it says there. They were founded in 2005. They have 1.8 million active sellers, and they do quite a bit of sales. I think it's $2.84 billion in gross merchandise sales just in 2016. So that's pretty awesome. And they're in nearly every country in the world. And we thought this was funny. Dumbo district in Brooklyn, New York, is where they're actually located. We thought that was a joke, but it's actually true. But
right.
But there's millions of products online and people using this site. Now, with Etsy, there's just some basics. You can sell handmade items or vintage items. And vintage means 20 years old or greater, so I am definitely vintage. And it costs just 20 cents to publish each product listing. So
it really isn't too bad.
No, it's not bad at all. Now, then they also charge a 3.5% transaction whenever it sells. So it's like their commission. So whenever you sell something, they take 3.5% of those proceeds. And they recommend that you have at least 10 items per shop. So if you're selling things that you make, and for example, if they come in like 2 sizes,
right.
You might want to show different, designs on whatever it is you're doing. So if it's T-shirts or whatever, you could do that. But you just want to make sure you have 10 items in there.
You can have something custom, but you don't have to have 10 completely different products, just different product shots.
Exactly.
Okay.
The listing is definitely what you make it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Cool. And then the faster you can turn around an item, obviously, the more likely shoppers are going to buy from you. So if you can do that quickly and get it out the door, people are going to be attracted to that because they want that item. And that is the only real thing that I hear from people as a drawback sometimes from buying online is you can't get it right then. You got to wait. So if you're selling on Etsy, the very first thing you want to do is, if you've ever been an Etsy shopper, which I have, it's always handy to go on there and just kind of look and see what's for sale and how much people are selling it for, and what did it take for you to get there to find it. So shop for items that are pretty similar to what you're going to be selling. So in this example, I actually put in coasters. Are you, selling handmade coasters? Are you knitting them? Are you, making them out of wood and engraving them? Are you sublimating them? What are you doing? And how does those categories appear and subcategories? So what are you looking for there? And then how can you narrow the search? So if you're doing something pretty unique, so let's say you're doing state shapes and you chose, the state of California, and you want everything on your site to reflect just that, then you can narrow that search there by putting California, shapes in your search terms. And then also you want to look and see, okay, what are other people pricing similarly decorated items, or what are they pricing them for on this site? So it's a really good pricing tool for us.
That's really helpful. And what I love is looking at how the photos are produced. So, are you going to have a room environment like you see in the bottom left corner of the example here, or are you just going to have a white background for the product shots? And both work, really well. And the greatest thing is, product photography is a very important subject, especially if you're selling online, because people can't touch and feel your product like they can in the store. And, so it's tricky sometimes. So you just definitely want to make sure that you're descriptive when you post your items online, and that you capture the best side of what you've made. So if you'd rather put it on a white background, like the middle item there, the wood coasters, that's great. Or you can put it like a little lifestyle shot, like in the bottom left-hand corner. So just get familiar with Etsy. Okay, so what about these rules? What's the policies?
So, if I'm going to set up a shop online, I probably want to know, okay, what are the policies that I need to know as a seller to follow?
Okay.
What does Etsy expect? What are some, common best practices, and what should I know? What should I do? This is part of that. It's the seller policy. So It tells you, like, advertising, what can you do, and what are the terms that Etsy uses, how do they charge you.
So basically just grab a cup of coffee, sit down, take some time.
So if you want to offer like Etsy gift cards or things like that, you can do that too. You just got to know what the policy is. So again, you're right. Grab some coffee and settle in and read it.
Sounds good.
Now to get started, it's fairly easy. When I went to Etsy.com, there's actually a little area that said sell on Etsy. So this time, instead of actually buying a bunch of stuff on Etsy, I was actually going to sell. So I clicked that. And when I did, of course, it was saying, millions of shoppers can't wait to see what you have in store, which is great because I'm opening my shop. So I click that, and then it gives me an area where I just register. So you can register with your Facebook or with Google if you have Gmail, or you can just type in your information like below.
And the tip that we offer here is to choose a username that makes sense with your business or store name, so not something that's,
Lovely Cat 85. It's probably not what you want to put in your...
Unless your shop is about cat products.
Exactly.
So just make sure it fits with your business.
Exactly. So once you actually enter in your information and get signed up, you're not really confirmed until you actually go to your email and check it. So it'll tell you at the top, hey, go check your email and confirm that you're you. And this is to protect Etsy, of course, from getting a bunch of spam bots from going on and doing fake submissions.
Right.
And then any additional information it will ask you. So this is just for Etsy's purposes of, hey, do you sell all the time, or are you just doing this part-time, or what are you doing? So I filled that out as well.
You sell part-time? That's how you like it?
Yeah, and that's how I like it.
Perfect.
And then you'll want to make sure that you name your shop something that kind of reflects maybe what you do, or maybe it's you, or maybe it's something that you already have as a name. So we named ours uniquely Unisub, and thank goodness that was available.
It's available. That's good.
So you want to make sure your name's available. Now for this one, this is for a single listing, so you're stepping right into it. So if you had a product that you wanted to show 5 photos of, here you go. Here's 5 tiles for you to upload a PNG or a JPEG or a GIF file.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and here's what it looks like. Once we put the coaster in there, I just basically used a JPEG, and it was at the recommended size. So it's pretty simple to add these photos, but I definitely took this one on a white background, and then if I wanted to show like additional angles and the back of it, what does it look like, I could do that. I just have to, follow the suggested photo and image sizes that are recommended by Etsy. And then, of course, I'm going to want to put in some details.
So all those details.
So, for example, what's the title of what I'm going to sell? Am I going to sell it like in a set of 4, or does it come with a kickstand or an easel, or what does it come with? So I'd probably want to put that in my title, and then I have to say, like, okay, I made this. I'm not reselling someone's stuff. That's kind of why this whole section exists, where it says about this listing. And Etsy does have policies on that.
Sure.
And then you get to categorize it. So what is it, and what does it fit under? Like, is it,
Does it go in the kitchen?
Right. Is it go in the kitchen? Is it houseware? What is it? And then you'll actually want to go in, and you can actually renew your listing. So Etsy charges, it's 20 cents a listing, but it lasts for 4 months. So it's basically a nickel if you break it down over those 4 months. So you could actually have them automatically renew it, or you can do it manually and you renew it yourself. So it stays on there, the listing does, until you sell out of it, or
hopefully you sell it within a few days.
Which would be great. Yeah, and then you have list another one. And so then you just want to say, okay, this is a physical product. That's the type of product it is. It's not a digital file. Some people sell artwork on Etsy, which is cool. So then you just put a description also of what it is and why people should buy it. So I'm just giving an example here of personalized coasters with cork back. I did a set of 4, so I put that as my title.
And that's cool because that's detailed. That's very narrow.
Mm-hmm. And then who made it? Well, I did, and it's a finished product that is made to order. So you're letting people know that, yes, I can make these to order, but you're also telling them I don't just have these sitting on the shelf ready to go, and I don't have to do anything but to ship them to you. So that's kind of letting them know that it's not sitting there available. And then it's also handmade. So if it's handmade, you're going to put a category of home and living, kitchen and dining, so kind of fit for me, drink and barware for a coaster, you know, sounds pretty good.
Absolutely.
And again, you're just going through and selecting, okay, well, I offer more than one color, obviously, in this item because you can personalize it, which is cool. You could also pick holidays that it might go with. So if you were offering something that was a specific shape that went with the holiday, for example, or an occasion. And then you're going to just go in and select some items like, what's it made of? Is it made of hardboard? Was it made of cork? So you could do that same thing, ceramic, if you had mugs or something, you just select what it's made of. And then again, you select your renewal options and what type of product it is. And I added a wonderful description here. So decorate in style, I mean, I'm sure you could read that there, but it's basically where I'm going in, I'm letting people know how they can use the product and why they should buy it, and a description of how big these coasters are. And then, you know, also saying it's sold as 4 coasters in a set, it's made to order. And then I put, you know, these coasters are made in the USA, which is one of the things that Chromalex and Unisub products are all made in the United States of America. They make them right here in Kentucky.
So you're really highlighting the key qualities of the product here. Okay.
Absolutely. And then I even told them how to clean them. So there you go.
That's always good.
And I also picked some keywords like square, coaster, corkback, anything that you want to pick that goes with, you know, the function or the shape or the color, like it has there in Etsy, gives you kind of some suggestions. And then I also put what it's made out of. So again, these help with search terms when people are looking for products on your site.
Yeah, it's good to do this at the front, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to add it in later.
Exactly.
Okay. So what about inventory and pricing?
So this is where I'm going to put in, like, for my set of 4 coasters, I'm putting in $22, and I'm selling it as one item.
Okay.
So I'm putting in the price, I'm putting in the quantity, and then I'm also going to put in a SKU. So I'm really organized, and I like to have everything with a SKU so that I know what product I have on my shelf at my home office where I'm doing this. So
that's just for you. Okay.
Right, that's just for you, the SKU is, but it helps you keep track of things.
Definitely.
And then any kind of variations that you might have of it. So it comes in blue, or it comes in red, or it comes in black. So if you have different types of products that come in different colors. So, and some adding shipping information is very, very critical. And a lot of people get really nervous when they say, oh, if I sell online, I've got to figure out how I'm going to ship it.
This is actually pretty simple, right?
Right, it is. And so I wouldn't let this scare you away, because the good news is that Etsy has a seller handbook that steps you through the shipping process. And it does it for not only domestic, for in the United States, but if you're shipping from another country, if you're in another country, if you're in Europe and you're wanting to sell your items everywhere, this is a helpful guide for you. So again, this is stepping you through calculating shipping costs, like where are you shipping from. It'll ask you for your origin, and since I'm in the U.S., we have something called zip code. But then you also can put, like, how long is it going to take you to process this? How long is it going to take you to make the item and then box it up and then ship it?
Right, exactly.
And so then I just went ahead and just showed you some other things, like you need to know where you're going to ship your product. So if you're not planning on shipping it outside of your own country, you want to make sure that you let people know that up front. And you want to pick your default shipping service. So if you use United States Postal Service or UPS or anything like that, you can select those. And then free shipping is optional. So if you wanted to do that, you could do that. But then we'll talk about that in just a moment. Or you have a separate handling fee if there's some reason you need to charge that. So it allows you to put that information in there.
As much information as you want to add.
Yeah. And so again, this also is asking me for things like, well, what's my package weight? So I weigh things in pounds and ounces. So on the next slide, you'll actually see where I entered in some information there. So I've got a 2-pound package. I actually measured it, length, width, and height. And then, for example, if I'm going to ship my package to Chicago, this particular product would, in shipping, I'd pay $6.60, or my customer would if I choose to pass that on to them.
And that's kind of an interesting point, which, so if you want to pay that shipping cost, how would you do that with the product?
You could build that into the pricing of your product.
Okay. Then you'd be able to make that money.
Yeah, exactly. So if you might normally sell, okay, well, if I were just making these coasters here and I don't have to ship them, and I have 4 of them, I'm going to charge you $20 for them.
Okay.
But if I wanted to ship them to you for $6.60 or wherever I normally ship, and you don't really know because you're going to be shipping all over the country,
right.
The rates are going to vary. So you may want to build in, so let's say you charge $28 if you're going to ship those. So you can do it that way just to offset at least that amount of transport cost or shipping cost.
Got it.
Etsy payments. So Etsy has a couple different options for payments depending on where you are. So at one time, you could use Etsy payment system, and you could also use PayPal. And I think now they've more integrated the PayPal system into Etsy payments, at least for newer people coming into Etsy and in certain countries.
Maybe to make it a little smoother.
Yeah. So now you have actually 10 more reasons, or to buy from you, as shoppers have that. But you have more and more items or ways to pay. So, for example, I'm a huge PayPal person because I like the convenience of that. But I can also pay with a Visa, MasterCard, American Express. I mean, there's all sorts of different payment options there. And it's really simple because it's all up front. Etsy kind of handles it for you. There is a fee for it, but I really don't think it's that bad. If you're doing business online, you're going to pay fees anyway.
And we get into that in a little bit, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
So yeah, Etsy does charge a fee for using Etsy payments, and they're based on the location of where your bank is. So where are they going to deposit the money? They're going to deposit it in Chicago or Kentucky or wherever, so they're going to charge a fee based on that. And for the U.S., the fees are 3% of the total sale price, and that includes shipping costs and taxes, plus a flat 25 cents per order.
Okay.
Okay, so they're going to show you these things, but those processing fees appear in your payment account, but they're deducted prior to the deposit into your actual bank account. So it'll show you, hey, this is what we took out, and then your bank should have, the deposit in your bank will match what they put in there.
Got it.
And they won't appear on your Etsy bill. So Etsy bills you for the listings you have. So remember the 20 cents each listing?
The nickel each month?
Yeah. They bill you each month for that. So these payment processing fees don't appear on that bill, but you can actually see them when you are looking into deposits on your account.
Okay.
And they're actually, the payment processing fees are in addition to the regular transaction fees that Etsy charges. But just to let you know, it's pretty straightforward. If anybody's used a different method of collecting money via online, it's pretty much the same thing.
Similar. That's good to know.
So to do this, so for them to pay you for selling online, for your customer to pay you, you have banking info that you can add.
Okay.
So this is just the first screen of banking information. You just fill that information out of where you want that to go. And one thing to remember, if you don't already know this, please set up a banking account for your business only and separate it from your personal account. Just makes it so much easier than having money coming into a personal account. You can really keep track of it. I just recommend it for tax purposes. I think it's easier and cleaner to see what you're making from your Etsy business.
Well, thank you. That's helpful. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah. And then, so this is just asking you again, where do you want your money deposited? Who are you?
Right.
And then you're actually going to get billed to from Etsy, so you then have to go and set up your billing for that. So this is just almost the final step, really. And you would just add a credit card as to where Etsy can bill you. Okay. And then it says, again, we'll add 20 cents to your bill for the listing on the shop. They don't bill you right away, but it's for each listing, it's 20 cents. So it'll be due on the first day of the next calendar month. And then if you want to look and see how the fees work, you could actually click that how the fees work on there as well.
That's great that they have it right there.
I know.
Neat.
So when I open up my shop, I have Uniquely Unisub as my name. I kind of like that from before. We did an earlier video on another platform that we named it that. But this is where I get to see my dashboard, and it's kind of cool. You can see the shop owner is me, and then I could put my lovely mug in there if I wanted to from a picture. But this is where you can actually, if you click the next screen, there you go, you can brand your shop. So you could put a picture of merchandise, or you could actually, if you have a brick and mortar store, you could do that, or you could put anything there. But I definitely recommend that you brand it because it helps you stand out on Etsy. And you look real. I mean, you're a real person making real items.
We are real.
Yeah, you want to make sure that people can identify with you.
Right.
And on this cool little shop manager, it's pretty, you can edit anything that says edit, you know, you can add things, you can describe your shop. Yeah, so if you have like an elaborate way that you make things, you want to go right underneath Uniquely Unisub, there's a little plus sign that says add a shop title, describe your shop in one sentence. I mean, that's something where you can have like a tagline or anything you wanted there.
Great.
Listings, so if you wanted to create featured listings that show up first, it actually has a section where you can do that under listings. So you can make something that if you're really proud of this set of coasters, they're selling like hotcakes, go ahead and put those at the top and make those your featured listings. And then the shop manager in general is just really helpful because this is where you're going to go, and I call it like the daily dashboard view. So when I get up in the morning, I want to see what happened. Okay, well, here's all my listings. I can add some items. Maybe I made some stuff last night and I want to add, you know, some items to my Etsy shop. You can view and respond to any messages that your buyers have.
Okay,
that's really cool. Yeah. You can see site traffic. You know, where are people coming from when they go to your site? You can also edit details about your site. So anything like there's something called vacation mode where you can go on vacation and let people know, hey, as a seller, I'm on vacation for this period, but I'll respond to you when I get back. It's hilarious. So that's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, business owners are probably laughing right now because they're like, we never go on vacation.
Right.
We don't tell people that. But then you can view any open or closed orders. You know, anytime somebody needs to cancel an order, that's something you can see too. You can view your payment. So what did I get paid? That's always nice to know. And again, the settings, you can edit the shipping information and shop options, so vacation mode and much more.
So it's basically a one-stop shop there.
I love it, yeah. It's easy to see. So just some things to remember. So you don't want to go on and resell other products because it's really not allowed on the handmade section of Etsy.
You want to stick with the policy
yeah,
as much as possible.
Exactly. So you can only resell things if they're vintage or if you have craft supplies, which I know there are a lot of people that buy craft supplies wholesale and they go and they turn around and sell it on Etsy, and that's pretty common. So they can do that. They just can't do it in the handmade section. And don't forget about copyright. So be careful that you are not copying someone else's work and selling it as your own or taking materials that are, you know, like any logoed items that you don't have permission to use. The most famous would be like Disney items or anything that, you know, definitely don't want to do that because that will get you into some trouble.
Right.
So just remember that. Encourage people to leave reviews. And that way you get real honest feedback and you can work with these people and create a relationship. And it always makes your site look great. So if I'm out there shopping from Etsy, I'm going to look at I'm obviously going to look at your merchandise. But if I see you don't have that great a review, I might be a little hesitant to purchase from you. So encourage people to review and just work with them and make sure you create that relationship. And then add information about lead times. If it's going to take you a week to do something to actually make the product, make sure that you're honest with people and let them know that.
Yeah, being realistic too can really help people set up their expectations.
Exactly. So if you live in New Orleans and it's Mardi Gras and you know you're not going to get that done, then you might want to say, you know, go on vacation mode or put some kind of lead time information. So that's just a little helpful thing there. And then let shoppers know where can you ship. So if you have no intentions of shipping out of the country, you might want to let people know that, or just it'll have it on there, I only want to ship to the United States. So just let people know where you can ship. And then a refund policy. So you have a refund policy normally anyway. So clearly state what that is, especially with personalized items.
So then this is an extra. I mean, you were telling me about this a little bit earlier. So basically, you can create a website, and it's kind of like a step up. So it almost just elevates your brand and gives you a professional
looking website. Etsy added called Pattern. And it's pretty neat because it actually takes your site and you can make it into a website. So it's pretty awesome. It's just a new thing that Etsy added. So if you want to try it, it's pretty neat. So
helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, and these are websites that you definitely want to jot down or click on. Make sure you save them.
I absolutely recommend the Seller Handbook. It is very informative. And if you're opening an Etsy shop, it gives you several different articles you definitely don't want to miss. So if you look, the second one down says 10 tips for starting an Etsy shop. That came off the Seller Handbook. It's a really great article. And also, kind of at the bottom there, I know I skipped over one, but the product photography, there are so many sections in that handbook on that topic. So if you're not really good at photography like me, you can actually learn how to make your products look their best with photography tips from Etsy, from that Seller's Handbook. And if you need any apps to actually help enhance your shop, you know how we talk about apps on your phone, you play games, it's a little bit different. These are apps that help you sell and help your store. There's a lot of cool ones on there. So check those out at etsy.com/apps. Okay.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate you all listening to me cough.
I know, I learned a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was actually a really fun project, and I loved going through and learning about Etsy. And the really good thing about it is they have so many things they offer on their own. There's a lot of tutorials. There's a lot of blogs. People write about Etsy. There's just so many people on it that you're not alone. And you have a community there's actually a section called Community. And you can go on. So if you're having a common situation and you're like, help, what do I do? Then other people probably have gone through that too, and they respond to you as other Etsy sellers.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's a really supportive network. And again, this is just one more way that you can take your personalized items and sell them online to make money in sublimation. So we just wanted to bring this to your attention.
And definitely want to help you grow your business. And if you have any feedback on what you've learned today or what you've seen, then please let us know and give us ideas for anything else you want to know, because we will dig into it and research and then present it to you so that you can get more ideas for how to grow.
Happy selling!